not encouraging or advising anyone to modify their firearms. This is for entertainment and educational purposes only.
What's up, everyone? My slide and frame are back from nitride, grip modules anodized, and I got a box of parts. It's time to put this thing together for the last time. I will focus on what parts need refitting, and I'll show any final adjustments, cleanup, or tuning that I do. I'm not really going to bother showing a general reassembly on this one. Let's get into it. When my grip module came back from anodizing, the trigger shoe was a bit tight, which is good. That means I didn't overfit it prior to anodizing, but I did just have to take a smidge of material off the bottom here, and I got it sliding nicely in there once again with no up and down play. Gave the trigger bow one final polish before installation. I did have to lap the slide and frame rails back together. When I got the parts back from nitride, the slide wouldn't go on the frame. I was kind of expecting this. Salt bath nitride, the treatment that I had done to these parts is just that. It's a treatment. It modifies the surface of the existing material. It's not a coating. It doesn't add any thickness, but the treatment occurs at about 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. So things move around a little bit. And I think what happened is my slide closed up a little bit. And so I measured it all, and what I was finding is that in the horizontal direction, I was right at about 0 clearance to maybe half a thou of interference. It was tight enough I couldn't just lap it in with oil, so I used 3000 grit diamond lapping compound, and this is kind of some thick pasty shit. So I made a slurry of it with oil and used that to lap the slide and the frame back together. And now I have that really nice, just glassy, smooth fit once again. Let's look at these rails. Oh no, my precious nitride is gone. No, not really. All I've done here is just taken away the black iron oxide layer on the surface. After the salt bath nitrocarburization process, it goes into an oxidizing, quenching bath. This is what turns the surface black. It converts about 2 to 5 microns of the surface of the material into black iron oxide, Fe3O4. Under that, I still have 0.8 to 1,000th of a very hard, wear-resistant, corrosion-resistant compound layer, and then probably 5 to 8 thousandths of a diffusion layer under that. So I've not compromised the hardness or wear resistance of these frame rails by just lapping them back together and taking off some of the black iron oxide on the surface. What finish treatment or coating is going to be done to the slide and frame kind of needs to be accounted for in the slide to frame fit. If I were to do this again, I would still do nitride, but I would probably have my initial slide to frame fit just be a little bit on the looser side. I wanted to share some details about how I fit the front sight. I'll link to my favorite Dawson Precision video about dovetail sight installation in the description. In the previous episode, I mentioned that I put a slight bevel on the leading edges of the slide dovetail cut prior to sending it out for nitride. I measure the dovetail depth, and then I measure the distance from the bottom of the sight base to the bottom of the sight blade. I want this to be about 1 to 2 thou more than the depth of the slide dovetail cut. This one needed about 3 to 4 thousandths of material removal, so I did that with 600 grit sandpaper and oil on a flat surface. Once material is taken off the bottom, then I try to start it in the dovetail. It wouldn't go, so that's when I take a triangular file and remove material from one side of the sight base dovetail. You'll see that I taped the shit out of the slide and attached like cardboard to it. It's in the vice jaws with a cloth. I really don't want to ding up my finish here. I'm being very careful. Once I can get the sight about halfway in with some moderate tapping, I know the fit's about right, so I drive it back out. I cleaned up my file work, broke some edges, then hit it with some cold blue. I dropped some red Loctite and spread it out. There's a green Loctite that is meant specifically for filling gaps and taking up clearances, but red works just fine for this application, in my opinion. I drive the sight in with a punch and get it where I want it, and then clean up any Loctite and touch up the sight with cold blue again. Clean front sight install, optic plate and optic mounted. Internals are all loaded into the slide. Polished barrel, recoil assembly. Ready to go. When I first established my sear and hammer geometry and engagement relationship, I left myself about 13 thou of engagement. I had the trigger around 2¼ to 2½ pounds for test firing. I think that 12 thou of engagement depth is appropriate for that trigger weight. I decided I would increase the weight of this trigger to about 2¾ to 3 pounds and reduce my engagement depth closer to 10 thou. So that's what I did, just a little bit more off the secondary face. After that,
I did my final sear face polishing.
Doing my final sear spring adjustment now that my hammer and sear geometry are set. Got that 1¼ pound take up I want. So just a hair above 2¾ but I still need to put a few hundred rounds through this and let the sear spring take a set, and then I'll readjust my final break weight. So that's a really good setting for now. When I initially fit this safety, I left it on the tight side, and I made some more adjustments to my sear geometry and stuff, so I can put it in here and I can just feel a slight drag as it's going up into the safe position. So that just means I need to take a smidge more material off here. It was quite literally 2 file swipes to get it where I wanted it. So adjusting the overtravel was a little stupid, right? The screw has to come in from the back side of the shoe. The hole in the front of the shoe isn't big enough for the screw to come all the way out. There will be, a window cut or something in the shoe right here, so I can back the screw out, drop my Loctite on it, and then screw it back in, adjust it, and be good. That didn't work in this case because there's no window cut. It's a solid shoe. So what I had to do is pull the mag catch, turn the screw almost all the way through, pull the trigger back until I could drop red Loctite on the screw through the magazine catch hole, and then screw the screw back in, put my mag catch back in, and then adjust my overtravel. It was kind of fucking dumb. Also, tape here on the frame and on the trigger guard, so when you're adjusting like this, it doesn't ding it there and it doesn't ding it there. Holy fucking shit, guys. It's done. Feels amazing. Looks amazing. Next video, take this thing to the range and I'm going to put 500 rounds through it. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.